with John from Dark Matter Audio at the Dark Matter Audio stand because they've got a very interesting new product called the DMA1 and he's going to tell us a little bit more about it. John, so what exactly is it?
What it is a professional piece of equipment at consumer prices. Basically, it's a very, very powerful outboard piece of processing for musicians, which runs synths, guitar effects, bass effects, drum loops, recording, on top of shark processing, analog devices, very, very hardcore studio sound at consumer prices. What I'd like to show you for now is just a guitar plugged in, very high quality output, all digital, and I'll show you how the output channel works. So, as a guitarist coming in on channel 1, what I want to do is set up a simple guitar chain where I want a sustain, a wah, a distortion, and an amp model probably. Let's have a nice amp model here. Now this is great sound. And that gives a proper sound. It's not messing around. Now, what we want to do is add a bit of reverb. So what we'll do is we'll move over here, put some reverb on this channel, select this channel as an input source. So now, when we go to our mixer, which of course is fully surround soundable, we can send things where we like, front, rear, etc., on multiple channels. We just listen to the reverb, which is a bit quiet. There we go, and we'll mix that in on top of. And you get a fantastic guitar sound. I mean, really, this is the best guitar sound I've ever had. I mean, for years playing with different boxes, etc. And it's such a nightmare plugging them all in all the time, and fiddling with the knobs and never getting it right. And having a system here, which is a proper filing system, it's an open community development box, so anyone can write software for it and publish software through us, and actually get the sounds you've always wanted, complex sounds. And it's just great fun to play with because you can absolutely mix and match, and because it's virtual, say I've got one amp model plugged in at the moment on this thing, and I can just plug another one in and change the sound again, and in fact I can plug another one in and get that sort of 70s rock sound coming out. Well,
but it's not just for guitarists, is that right? It's a production system as well.
It's a production system. It's basically, we've started focusing on guitarists because we wanted a real instrument that's plugged in that is hardcore. I mean, obviously since real instruments, we wanted something which had a bit of life to it, and so we get the right sounds and we make it sound as good as possible. We're synthesizers coming onto it, drum machines coming onto it, we're having all the effects you can imagine you can buy. Again, we're not writing their third-party effects, so you'll be able to buy lots of well-known manufacturers, which I can't say at the moment, effects on this device. So it's a generic, does-it-all box. I know it's a big claim, but it really does. It does everything you'll probably want to do for many years. And of course, the design behind this is you start in your bedroom as a guitarist, for example, you get the sound you like, you go on stage, you keep your sounds, you go into a studio, and you've still got the right sounds. It's not a question of, oh my God, we need to re-engineer you. This gives you the whole path all the way through to the end.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the operating system and the actual processing power in here?
Okay, it's basically two boards. We're running an ARM for the visuals and the graphics, which it's not very powerful, it doesn't need to be, but its only job in life is to control the shark. Now, the shark is massively powerful. A good example would be this distortion here, wouldn't run on an iPad, for example. It needs about 70 megaflops to run, and the iPad's about 40 to 50. So just that effect wouldn't run on a cheaper consumer device. We have on megaflops, for example, this runs at over a gigaflop compared to, it's literally 20 times more powerful than your iPad. And it really enables you to get the proper sounds, because really, when you're running signal processing, it's all about grunt. And if you're doing it properly, you're running lots of filters, you're running lots of convolution, and that takes processing power. The other thing is it's 40-bit. The Shark's fantastic because it's 40-bit processing, and virtually everything else is 32. And if you just do the maths of 2 to the power 32 and 2 to the power 40, you'll see the level of resolution increase. It's a huge difference. And it really, you can hear it. Our ears are massively sensitive, and you really can pick up the nuances and the differences that you want to get, from the harmonic range to the sounds that come through. And it's amazing. I mean, I have a friend of mine who's got a cheap little Squier, cheap little amp, and he's been used to this sound. I took this over to him last week, and I've never heard a cheap little Squier, cheap little amp sound that good, really.
I mean, you mentioned the iPad. I mean, obviously that's got a multi-touch screen and this hasn't, so the emphasis here is less on the screen and more on the box and what you can actually do with it.
I mean, I love the iPad. It's an amazing, visual device. Apple have obviously gone for the gaming market, for the interface, which is, I can't knock it, it's brilliant. But it's not an audio processing device. And we're actually working with iPad developers to have control systems on the iPad which Wi-Fi to this, because this has Wi-Fi. I mean, I'll talk about the outputs on it. It's full surround, has 8 outputs, has 2 inputs. So the reason we've done this is so you can turn up, say, the amount of times I wanted to actually go and jam with a friend, and there's only 1 input on the amp. Or I want to plug into my hi-fi. I can't. I don't have the right lines or the cables, etc. So this you can plug into your hi-fi, you can plug into your surround sound system, you can plug into your amps, you can monitor through to wherever you want. I mean, for performance, you can have it so you've got your PA and a monitor controlled on here, so that you so that you can actually control your environment. I've had lots of singers, the vocalists love this because they have proper control on what they're doing. So it's just, we tried to basically wrap in one box, which is very possible these days. Well, we've done it. All the problems that people face when they're trying to connect their things together, just sort it out, because it's the nightmare when you just can't do it.
Okay, the big questions then: how much is it going to cost, and when is it going to be out?
Okay, the price, it's going to be around £500 including VAT in Britain, and that will transfer obviously around the world into relevant currencies. But that's including VAT. So.
Okay, thanks very much, John. That's the DMA1 from Dark Matter Audio.